Structure and function of leaves, roots, and stems. Growth. Core functions. Just like animals, plants have structures that help them to address each of the core functions: uptake of nutrients and energy, growth, survival, reproduction, and behavior. The rest of this presentation will include sections about each of these functions. The Venus flytrap is a carnivorous plant that digests insects. Look at the hairs on the red surfaces. When something makes the hairs move, the plant responds by snapping shut. This behavior helps the plant to obtain nitrogen it needs to grow. Therefore, these plants grow in areas where the soil lacks the nitrogen that it would obtain otherwise through the soil. Plant structures. All plants need structures that allow them to take up water, exchange gases, carry out photosynthesis, and grow. Vascular plants that live on land need roots, leaves, and stems for growth. Angiosperms, which are the flowering plants, also need flowers and seeds for reproduction. Flower and seed structure will be covered later in the presentation. Plants also need structures that protect them from herbivores, parasites, and harsh climates. Plant structures and adaptations vary depending on their niche and evolutionary history. Structures. Roots. Plants need water for photosynthesis and for structure. They also need minerals such as nitrogen, phosphorus, and sulfur to build macromolecules and carry out metabolism. Plant roots grow into the soil and absorb water and minerals that the plant needs to grow. This root tip diagram shows root hairs, where most absorption occurs. Structures. Leaves. All plants carry out photosynthesis. Leaves are specialized structures that capture light, exchange carbon dioxide and oxygen, and synthesize sugars and other macromolecules. Photosynthesis occurs in all green parts of the plant, especially the leaves. The reactants and products of photosynthesis are shown in this diagram. Sunlight is being captured by the leaves, as well as carbon dioxide, and water is being absorbed through the roots. Oxygen is released as a byproduct, then sugars are used for the plant's structure as well as for energy. Leaf structures. The stoma, or pores in the underside of the leaf, control gas exchange. The epidermis is a protective layer. The waxy cuticle prevents the leaf from drying out. The mesophyll cells have many chloroplasts. And the veins are made of xylem and phloem. These are responsible for transporting water and sugars. Stomata. Stomata is the plural for stoma. Stomata are found on all surfaces of leaves. The lower epidermis, underside of the leaf, has more. This is because the underside has more shade and is cooler. As a result, evaporation won't take place as much. Special guard cells control each pore's opening or closing. When stomata are open, transpiration rates increase. When they are closed, it decreases. Stomata in a tomato leaf are shown here via a colored scanning electron microscope image. Structure. Stems. Stems have several functions. They allow plants to grow taller and wider. Plants can capture more sunlight, make more seeds, and compete with their neighbors, thanks to their stems. Stems also contain vasculature. Just as our blood vessels carry blood throughout our bodies, plants have a similar system of small tubes that carry water, nutrients, and food throughout the plant. In plants, this is called vascular tissue. In humans, blood vessels are referred to as the vascular system. Structure. Stems. Plant stems, roots, and leaf veins have two types of vasculature which are easily seen in a magnified stains cross-section. Water ions and minerals are carried upward through the plant through xylem. Sugars and other molecules are carried from the leaves to the roots and stems and flowers through phloem. Because water is being absorbed through the roots, it must be transported upward throughout the plant's body. And sugars are produced by photosynthesis in the leaves, so they must be transported downwards. In this diagram, we see vascular bundles. The phloem is stained a deeper purple than the xylem. Growth. Stems. This diagram allows us to look inside the stem of a young plant to see the vasculature. The stem shows primary growth, associated with young and herbaceous plants, which includes elongation of stems and cells, but with little thickening. Growth, woody stems. Older plants may show secondary growth, which involves thickening and hardening of the stems. The xylem moves less water but has very thick cell walls that provide the plant with support. This part of an older stem is also called wood, which supports the plant as it gets taller. Studying the cross-section of woody stems gives lots of information about climate and growth. Each tree ring results from 1 year of growth. Structures for survival. Plants need to protect themselves just as much as animals do. By looking at a plant, it is not always obvious how the plant is using structures to survive, but roots, leaves, and stems all have modifications that help with defense against herbivores, parasites, and harsh climates. The spines of these cacti are specialized leaves that help to keep animals from eating them. Their narrow shape also protects them from water loss in dry climates. Structures for survival. Look at the pictures below. Each has a structure to help with survival. Some plants have a thick, waxy covering on their leaves. It makes these leaves look shiny. This helps the plant to survive by preventing water from evaporating from leaves. The bark of trees forms a layer of protection between the inner tree and the outer environment, just like your skin. Structures for survival. Some plants make toxins that can hurt or even kill animals that attempt to eat them. These toxins are made by internal structures and then stored in different areas of the plant. This plant goes by many different names, including crab's eye. The red berries are extremely toxic. One berry is enough to kill a human.